All right, brought to you by. So, got some interior stuff done, got all the seats out. A couple things to point out here on the seats. So, the seats are all through bolted down through the rubber, through the floor, and through the pan underneath. Those are all invariably going to be rusted. I went through a bunch of different ways to possibly take them out, and the fastest way ended up just being grabbing a 4-inch, grab my 4-inch grinder here with a couple of cutoff wheels. I think I went through, in total, when I cut them off, I went through 3 or 4 of those wheels. They're like $3 a piece. So that actually went pretty good. Then knocked them up or down. You can see my big pile of scrap out there. Let's see, we'll zoom in. There we go. Big pile of scrap. So there was some angle that was used to hold them up underneath. But once those were out, they all came out. They're all under a tarp out there now. So the rest of what I spent today doing was pulling this stuff up. So this is this corner trim that they put in here to mate between this rubber flooring and the wall. It's only screwed through the rubber flooring into the mat, or through the mat rather, into the subfloor. So pretty much all my screws were trashed anyway. So I just threw a crowbar under there and pried it all up. The wheel well covers came up too. They came up easily. There's nothing all that crazy going on here. The wheel wells are under there. I started the same thing on this side. So over here, it is the same little trim stuff. Over here, it obviously gets bigger because there are a big pair of hoses. There they are. Big pair of hoses and an electrical line in there that run that heater because the heaters are run off of the engine coolant. So that's what's protected in there. Again, these screws were almost all junked, so I just ground the heads off of them and popped them out. I'm thinking I want to try to keep this trim material, which is why it's still sitting in there. I pulled it up through right here. At some point I'll wire wheel it and prime it. But I'm gonna relocate that heater too. I am keeping the heater. That's the other thing. In here, I haven't taken this piece apart yet. This guy and this guy. What I think is going on in here, if I had to guess, just based on what my switches say, I do have a rear heater, high, low, but then I've got a boost pump switch as well. And based on what the guy I bought it from said, I'm going to bet dollars to donuts there's a boost pump in there. There's a recirculating pump, an auxiliary recirculating pump in there. So I could turn those fans on with that switch up there, but maybe it's passive circulation, I'm not sure. But I'm going to bet that really forces the circulation all the way to that back one. So that's what I think is going on there. Otherwise, the heater's in here. There's a driver heater. There's a stairwell heater. The stairwell heater, just for reference, obviously is a heater right here, blows out, but it doubles as the heater for the defroster. So lots of yokels will rip that thing out in order to make space for some cute piece of storage right here. But then you've also deleted your windshield defroster, which is not the greatest idea. All of those three, as far as I'm aware, I haven't confirmed this on this machine yet, but as far as I'm aware, those are all plumbed off the same auxiliary coolant coming off the engine. I will confirm that. But that's pretty much what we got done today here. Pulling those out. Again, just throw a crowbar on them and pry them up. We're going to rip this floor up anyway, so I'm not terribly worried about if I left broken off shanks of screws or anything in there. That's not that big a deal. But I got a school system who wants the seats, so I'm going to get rid of those first. Then we'll come back and we'll rip all the flooring up and assess how bad the rust is. It's pretty rusty underneath. I only found one spot right there under around the wheel well where it had rusted through the pan into the corner of the wheel well. So I'll have to weld a piece in there to make it right again. If in future, so there's this access panel right here. If you have one of these, don't just cover it up when you floor. That's the access panel to get to the fuel sensor and the mechanics for the fuel tank, which sits right under here. So if you take that away, then you'll no longer be able to get to like your fuel level sensor. And if there's an auxiliary pump or something in there, you won't be able to get to that anymore. So when I peel this floor up, I'm going to pop this panel and then put it back down again and put a hatch in so I can still get to that. So That's where we're at. Until next time.